Bob Kaufman was born in 1925 in New Orleans and was the third youngest of 13 children born to a German Orthodox Jew and Catholic woman. At age 13, Kaufman ran away from home to join the United States Merchant Marines and served for 20 years. During his time with the Merchant Marines, Kaufman survived 3 shipwrecks. After leaving the Merchant Marines in the 1940s, he went to New York and studied literature at the New School for Social Research. In New York, Kaufman became acquainted with Allen Ginsberg and William Burroughs and migrated with them to San Francisco in the late 1950s. In 1958, Kaufman married his second wife, Eileen Singe, in San Francisco. With Eileen, he had 2 children, a daughter, Toni, and son, Parker. Kaufman spent much of his time in bars and coffee houses, drawing inspiration from jazz adepts, including Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, and Miles Davis. Bob Kaufman became known as the original bebop man after putting out his own improvisational, experimental work, poetry so original and so conspicuously jazzy. In 1965, Kaufman's works were collected and published in Solitudes Crowded with Loneliness, his first book. Kaufman went back to New York in 1960, where his life followed a downward course of poverty, methadone addiction, and imprisonment. Also, after JFK's assassination, Kaufman took a vow of silence, which he characterized as Buddhist. He kept his vow of silence for more than a decade, only speaking after the Vietnam War ended. Kaufman continued poetry until his death in 1986. He died of emphysema in San Francisco at age 60. In his poetry, Bob Kaufman used jazz syncopation and meter. His technique ranged from visionary lyricism of satirical, near-Dadaistic learnings to the more prolific tone that was found in Kaufman's political poems, and his technique resembled that of the surreal school of poets. Kaufman was credited for popularizing the Beat attitudes and philosophies in Europe. His books of poetry include The Ancient Rain Poems, 1956 through 1978, Watch My Tracks, 1971, Golden Sardine, 1966, collected by Kaufman's friend Mary Beach during his first period of silence, and Solitudes Crowded with Loneliness, 1965, comprised of 3 earlier broadsides. Kaufman's earliest works were not written down, and many publications were transcribed from oral performances. When he broke his vow of silence on the day the Vietnam War ended, Kaufman did so by reciting his poem All Those Ships That Never Sailed. Kaufman also founded Beatitude magazine with other writers, including Allen Ginsberg. The magazine helped launch the careers of many aspiring poets. Round about midnight, soft blue voices, muted grins, exciting voices, father sins. Round about midnight, come on baby, take off your clothes, round about midnight.